Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Star Citizen's not ready after 8 years. Yeah, we're talking about Outside Gaming. I know that's not how he talks. I just feel like that accent would make me actually watch the show. Outside Gaming. Oh, I'm sorry, Inside Gaming. Outside Gaming coming out with a new Star Citizen rant. Wow, what a shocker. Getting that clicky bait out there so they can continue with their views. They're not even journalists at this point. I mean, like, I used to watch them long ago, and it just seems like they drifted down here. Of course, there's problems with Star Citizen. I'm not saying that. You'll see a wave of people come in here angry. It's a scam. It's a blur. It's a blue. It's a blur. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just talking about the fact that, like, it seems like they hit after hit. Every piece is a hit piece, like every single piece. Like, maybe if they came at it with some type of educated journalistic approach where they understood the technologies that were involved, where they talked about things like I don't know, OCS or the iCache or server issues that the game is having, and talk about it logically instead of just throwing out their own opinions without anything attached to it that makes any logical sense. Let's see. Hold on a second. Before we watch the Outside Gaming snippet, maybe they are going to say something logical. Maybe. You know, I should not prejudge. I'm just so accustomed to this being trash. Like, I'm just so accustomed to this all being just chalking it up to like TMZ entertainment. Like, at this point, Outside Gaming has become TMZ of the gaming world. Like, really, there's no credibility anymore with these guys. And I'm not just talking about Star Citizen, by the way. We're talking almost all the titles out there. Like a lot of the times, you got 4 different people on the panel usually, and very rarely will I take anything any of them say seriously. That's how bad it's become. I'm not joking. That's how bad it is becoming over at Outside Gaming. Let's see what they have to say, though.
Inside.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Tuesday. Let's talk about Star Citizen, which recently celebrated a big anniversary.
Again? Everybody's favorite piece of vaporware turned 8 today. It's a big boy, and they celebrated in true Star Citizen fashion. Another delay.
Yeah, you might remember the Star Citizen was announced. Okay. You might remember that Star Citizen was announced back on October 10th of 2012. It was a crowdfunded.
Is that how they treat like their work now? Like, they just get up and leave during like the guy just literally gets up and leaves. Like, I'm sorry, but like I would kind of be like, dude, nobody wants to see your shorts, man. Like, what's going on there? That's not really even funny. I mean, did I miss a joke? Is it just because he doesn't want to talk about it? Is that what the joke is? Because he believes that Star Citizen is not worth talking about, and he thinks Star Citizen is a joke, so he's gonna like get up and leave? Is that what the joke was that I missed? Because I don't even get it. I'm sorry, but like if I'm in a group of people and we're all like talking about things together, I kind of like when everybody sits down and has a discussion about it. Like, the guy just like gets up and jets. Was he gonna make a sandwich? What's going on?
Project to make an immersive space simulation / combat game. It had an impressive pedigree with the legendary developer Chris Roberts running the show. Players jumped on board to support it. Let's go! Let's go!
It has since become one of the most successful crowdfunded ventures.
That was the most confusing. There's no sense to it. There's no explaining. I don't even understand what that's in there for. That's why editing happens. I mean, isn't that what editing's for? Have they become that lazy? Like, has Outside Gaming become that lazy? Or was that like a joke that I missed?
Ventures ever, raising more than $300 million from fans who really wanted a big space sim game on their PCs. Shame all that money could have gone to one of Zach Braff's indie movie fundraisers.
As the money rolled in, the scope of the project expanded too. Star Citizen would eventually split into 2 games, a multiplayer game which they called the Persistent Universe, and a
They've been saying the same thing for every video about Star Citizen. They always say the same thing. They have this long intro about how Squadron 42 is separate from Star Citizen. I mean, it's like a mantra. How about stopping it already and just talking about, like, how is this a story? Because it was their birthday? Because Star Citizen turned 8? And so, like, they're like, okay, well, Star Citizen turned 8 and it's still not out. Like, what is that even a story? That is so fishing for views. I am sorry, but in my mind, that is like the most. People sometimes tell me on my videos that, like, hey, DG, this is clickbaity. I understand as a content creator, sometimes you gotta put a little clickbait in, but there's gotta be something in it when you click it, There's gotta be something in it. If there's something in it, if there's content in it and the title's a little clickbaity or the photo's a little clickbaity, but there's something in it when you get in there, it's not really clickbait. There's something in there. This is like pure clickbait. This is like ultra pure, the purest of the pure when it comes to clickbait. They turned 8 years old and the game's not out. So that's what they're talking about. They turned 8 years old and it's still not out. Okay. All right. Are you going to talk about anything else in this video? I mean, I'm only a minute in. And I am this triggered. I am not doing this because I'm a Star Citizen fanboy. Trust me. I love the project. Okay, yes. I have been following Star Citizen for a very long time. I talk about it, the project rationally. We look at the financials. We talk about the product, the end product. Will they get there? This isn't somebody who's like, with stars in his eyes, looking at Star Citizen. I wouldn't call myself a fanboy. I wouldn't call myself a white knight. And I do a hell of a lot of other content than Star Citizen on the channel as well. I'm talking about just strictly from like a journalistic standpoint, just from somebody who's creating content. Like, how is this a story? Okay, I'm sorry.
A single-player campaign called Squadron 42 stars big-name talent like Mark Hamill, Julian Anderson, Henry Cavill, and others.
You're just gonna go with that read of, okay.
Yep.
But does this character model look like Henry Cavill?
I mean, they look like squishy 2011 versions of themselves.
Yeah, I guess Kit Harington looked like Kit Harington in Call of Duty, so.
Yeah, and Pompeii.
Yeah.
Have these guys looked in a mirror? Like, if I look like any one of these guys, I'd want to be in CGI. I want to be a CGI model. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are cracking on the overall look. I mean, like, have you guys seen the Squadron 42 trailer? I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't say it's that bad. There might be some dating to it, but like they're going off the deep end here, man. Like, they're just, I mean, like, this is like a group of people like just going down and kicking the hell out of somebody on the ground right now. They're just like having their fun. Like, I mean, like, what is this?
And
Anyways, so while the developer has released a very early alpha build of the Persistent Universe, aka Star Citizen, the development of Squadron 42 has gone much slower. So Squadron 42 was originally supposed to come out 6 years ago, but as with everything Star Citizen, deadlines don't really mean much. They're more like a vague suggestion.
The development team over at Roberts Space Industries put out an impressive-looking trailer for the game along with an hour of gameplay in 2018. Then it was reported that the game was expected to go into beta later this year, 2020. Did not happen, and in March, the developer announced that they were abandoning their roadmap for Squadron 42, saying that it wasn't accurately reflecting the work on the game. Just in the middle of Nevada, and your dad's like, F the map. It doesn't accurately depict where we are in the state.
So that enraged backers of the game.
That is the worst analogy that I have ever heard in my entire life. This isn't a geographical map. This isn't a map to figure out how to get to Denver to San Diego. This is a developer map. You're a gaming journalist.
Game, who took to Reddit to air their grievances. To try and calm them down, the developer promised a new roadmap for the game, but recently we got a new progress report on the status of Squadron 42.
Okay, color me jelly, and I'll tell you why. These guys put no effort into any of their content, and they get hundreds of thousands of views. Yeah, I'm jelly. I am jelly. On that end of the spectrum, I can say I would love not to research anything. I would love to wake up every morning in my boxers, get on here, and not know a goddamn thing about anything, and just talk. In fact, some people would say that that's what I do. You might not be too wrong. No, just teasing. But what I'm saying is these guys are not putting any work into their content, and they are getting hundreds of thousands of views. I know Erad and I would love that. I know Erad and I would love just to wake up and not have to worry about reading anything in regards to Star Citizen or any title that we're in, and we just plop out and vomit. You know, I know, Erad, wouldn't that be great, buddy? Imagine that. We wouldn't have to know anything. We just get in our boxers and we just talk about what the fuck ever without knowing anything, and then we get hundreds of thousands of views. Wouldn't that be wonderful, Erad? Shit. This is insane.
From none other than Chris Roberts himself.
He came down from the mountaintop.
2 stone tablets. And you know what he said?
No.
They're not done yet.
Oh.
Game's not done.
Maybe I could have guessed that.
Sounds like it's not even close to being done. I want to say, this game looks pretty cool. Stop giving it money, because it will never come out. But I kind of get it, that, like, I get the initial.
I like that. Okay, all right. So at least he's acknowledging what he's seeing here in terms of the graphics, and hey, this looks kind of cool. But and in that respect, yeah, like maybe speak with your wallets a little bit, maybe. But if people want to spend their money and they want to pledge, who are you to tell them not to? That's another side of that coin,
wanting to buy in on it 8 years later. I mean, I don't understand so much, but like, game looks cool.
Hey, it took James Cameron 25 years to make Avatar.
He also didn't announce it the same day he had the idea.
Roberts did an AMA on the game's official website.
It's not. Oh, my head hurts so bad. I don't even know if I can finish this video. Okay, the way in which this project's being funded is through backers, and it's done in such a way that this project's amassed over $300 million. And whether it's successful or not, it's changed the industry. This is not a fucking movie. I mean, there's portions of movie, okay? But we're talking about the gaming genre. Outside gaming.
Where he answered questions from fans who were clearly annoyed at all the delays.
Completely party down below, Soviet.
Pointed out that Squadron 42 is now 6 years behind its original promised release date, and wrote that over recent years there has been little communication on updated delivery targets for SQ-42.
They wrote, as it stands, the community has completely divided opinions on the expected release date of Squadron 42. Some think it's still years away.
Yeah, Roberts responded a bit defensively, pointing out that the new roadmap, quote, will do a much better job in showing what people are working on at any given time, as opposed to just focusing on deliverable features. Very smart, showing that even though there's not something being delivered, those people are hard at work. But we should add that they haven't really even released that new roadmap. They're still working on the roadmap, which will then show the work that's being done on that roadmap.
But don't worry about roadmaps and roadmaps to roadmaps, because while they're not planning to release the game anytime soon, the team is going to do what it does best: release videos about making video games.
Yes.
Watch out, No Clip. They're coming.
Oh, all right. The reason why they're putting the videos out is to show the progress of the project and the development, and be transparent to the people that actually pledged, because hey, they want to do that, and that is something that is appreciated by those people that pledge, so that they can kind of keep tabs on what's going on with the project. So, again, this is just babble. Like it's just babble. I literally feel like the dude up in the top right is trying to read something that he should already know, and bring up some type of point that somewhat sounds educated, that is not. It's just random psychobabble.
coming for your lunch.
Roberts announced a new feature called The Briefing Room that's focused on the development of Squadron 42. He said that they'll release a new episode every 3 months until the game releases. The first episode,
Right,
more than an
Shakukas?
hour long, full of developers chatting about their progress and showing off sections of the game.
Just fundamentally misunderstanding why people watched that documentary about Half-Life Alyx, a game that was made in secret and came out.
But that's kind of the problem with the whole project, is that they're clearly working on something, but their updates, when they do happen, are these big information dumps, and they kind of just focus on really granular aspects of the game. And it feels like they're kind of constantly just lost in the weeds, maybe, rather than, acting out of any sense of urgency to actually ship the game.
In responding to fans asking for more status updates, Roberts claimed that we have multiple video shows per week, lore updates, developers regularly engage in the forums, have a weekly newsletter, as well as regular monthly reports. So there's a lot of communication, but none of it answers the big question, when will the damn thing be done?
It's like when you have, I don't know, I'm a father. And when I hear this over and over again, I understand where it's coming from. It's not like it's not valid. What's up, guy? Welcome to the fam. That question, okay, there's validity to the question. It's been 8 years, I understand. But like, this isn't a GTA 5. This thing has a huge scale to attach to it. And the amounts of game design, and the amount of gameplay that we want from it is varied. It's all over the map. Like all the types of gameplay that we demand, that we wanted, that we voted on, that the community wants from this game is huge. So the scale of this game is quite huge, number one. But when I hear, when is it coming out? When I hear this over and over again, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? When is it coming out? When I keep hearing this, it reminds me, I'm a dad with 2 kids. When my kids were smaller, and we'd take like a vacation or we'd drive somewhere, my kids, I love them, but they'd be like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? My kids would say that. And they would say it over and over again, both of them, sometimes in unison. Are we there yet? 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 And I'd be like, I'm gonna get there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna get there. And that's like this. These are like children, right? It feels to me like, okay, let's say Star Citizen flops, right? Let's say Star Citizen is a failure. Let's say everything falls apart, right? I'm still happy I was on a journey where I got to see under the hood of game development. I'm still happy I was a part of something that I learned so much in these past 5 years about game development because they're transparent. I understand why it's taking so long because I take the time to understand what it is they're working on. There's a lot of tech here that's not been invented yet, that they're trying to invent. But they don't know it because they don't take the time to learn, to read. And they're inside gaming. This is why I call them outside gaming. This is why I call them outside gaming. If they took, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to research what's going on with the project, maybe, I feel like they'd be a little bit more balanced. This is coming from a perspective of if this game makes it or if this game doesn't. Regardless, this is just about the game development. It's boggling my mind, you know? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
At the death of the sun,
Oh!
those Star Citizens development shall conclude.
By the time you finish the game, none of the people who paid for it will be alive. It's not for them. It's not meant to be played.
By finishing development on Star Citizen, so too shall man have conquered entropy and kill God.
I'll be backing now, actually.
Oh, I'd give all my cash to that game. And in true Chris Roberts fashion, he did not answer any questions about when the game will actually come out. Instead, he said that they're trying to make a really ambitious game, which takes time. They're not going to be bound by anyone else's deadlines. He even went so far as to compare it to actual space travel, a much harder thing.
So to continue with this actual space analogy.
Okay, yeah, that was ridiculous. I agree. I mean, like comparing, like I even talked about that on the other on yesterday's stream. Like, okay, that's great. His inspiration's JFK. That's wonderful. But like, let's not have that comparison to the moon landing. to Star Citizen. Yes, we're working on tech that is not out yet. That they're kind of pioneering the gaming world. But let's not compare. I don't know if Chris really was. I don't think that was his intent to compare this to like the moon landing. But it's definitely out there now. And yeah, that was a little bit ridiculous.
In a letter from the chairman, Roberts paraphrased
Yeah.
President John F. Kennedy's famous speech outlining America's goal to get to the moon.
Yes,
by the end of the decade.
I mean, like Chris really asked for it right there. I mean, I don't know what Chris was thinking. This is like when Chris does this stuff like it does. It reminds me of like when he used to like talk about dates. Like one day, like Chris stepped in it. Let's just Chris really stepped in it with that one. When I think I was the other day when we were reading the letter from the chairman, and I was like, I initially said that. I
Roberts
knew that
tried
was
to
going to
link
get
that
hit.
monumental achievement to the Star Citizen project, writing, "We chose to build a game of Star Citizen's complexity and ambition, not because it is easy, but because it is hard."
I do an okay JFK.
Let's hear it.
We
Oh God. Explodo goes, they do a good JFK impression here though. I will give him that, says Explodo.
chose to build a game of Star Citizen's complexity and ambition, not because it is easy, but because it is hard.
I think you're doing JFK after spending like a couple months in Brooklyn, and he's just picked up a tiny bit of that accent
Just
by
a
accident.
little
Maybe.
bit.
In another post, Roberts wrote that Squadron 42 will be done when it is done, and will not be released just to make a date, but instead it will.
JFK smelled like badge all over the place. Just ask Marilyn Monroe. I think that's what we said on yesterday's stream. Marilyn Monroe was, could confirm that one.
Release once all the tech and content is finished, polished, and plays great.
He went on to say, "I am not willing to compromise making a game I believe in with all my heart and soul, and even though everyone, including me, wants Squadron 42 sooner than later, it would be doing a huge disservice to everyone working really hard on the project, and all of you that are looking forward to it to deliver something that isn't great."
So that's their official perspective. We're working on something amazing, and you're just gonna have to wait for it to be done. Then again, it's also been reported that the team has been blowing through all those millions, and that project is a disaster behind the scenes. Wolf of Wall Street in that money away.
For sure is.
Last year, Forbes published an expose on the game's troubled development. People who
Like, if you guys are wondering what they're talking about, I did a piece on it about $1.5 million in pledges basically being used, I think, for dividends. So that is happening, even though the company itself is, had to file solvency papers. And the reason they did that is on the British side of things, when they filed through Companies House, they had to show like, hey, yes, we're not making money officially. So in order for us to pay ourselves a dividend, we have to file solvency papers to say that we are good on our debts and that we can pay these debts, that we have plenty of revenue coming in to pay these debts. Even though our P&L sheet shows that we're taking a loss, we're able to pay our debts as a company, and that we're going to be taking dividends for ourselves. Now, some people would say, should a company that's reporting in the red, that is reporting losses, should the 6 people that are going to get these dividends get them for a company that's in the red? I don't know. That's neither here nor there right now. I personally, I think it's a little troublesome on my end. So there is some validity there in that argument, right? But at the same time, these people are the people that are making the game, and they are the people that run the show. And if they want to pay themselves, hey, so there's that too. I don't think just because they filed solvency papers that we have to worry about Cloud Imperium going bankrupt. They've got plenty of revenues coming in to where I believe they'll be fine. But yeah, that is happening behind the scenes.
who worked on the game said that it suffers from massive feature creep and that Chris Roberts had basically lost control of it all. Forbes reported that at the end of 2017, Roberts had just $14 million in the bank, although he has obviously since raised more.
And the money train keeps on rolling, baby.
Choo-choo!
Roberts said that 2020 is already our biggest year in terms of revenue, players, and engagement. And while Roberts acknowledged that there has been some frustration from fans after they abandoned the game's roadmap, he promised that it'll be worth the wait.
It feels especially gross to herald how much revenue you have when you haven't released a product.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like the way he started out the letter, I said that too. It's not really smart to start out with, hey, we've grossed over 300 million. We brought 300 million in. It wasn't really a smart way to start off the letter. I actually agree with that as well.
Roberts wrote that with Squadron 42, I can finally immerse you as a player into your own adventure to rival any big-budget movie you might see on the big screen, interacting and forming relationships with characters played by some of your favorite actors and navigating battles and set pieces that would make any Star Wars film proud. Has anybody told Chris Roberts that the new Star Wars movies weren't even that good?
He should maybe specify which Star Wars movies he's talking about.
Attack of the Clones.
The only good one, really.
G-3PO's head is on a different robot.
Rolling in the aisles laughing.
Oh, I peed.
I shit myself in the theater.
Roberts added that I could have stuck to the original, much simpler game that was proposed in 2012.
What's up with
but
this
with
music?
the increase in scope for Star
What,
Citizen, I felt
what
that
is up? What happened here? What just happened? Like, what is up with the music? Yeah, it's so cringy. Like, it's just it got real cringy. Like, I just noticed, I'm like, it sounds like I'm at some type of PBS event, man. Like, what's going on? What just happened? It's elevator music at its worst, man. Smooth jazz. Smooth jazz. Yeah, and the music mix is way too up. You know, God, what are they doing over there? I mean, Jesus, the life. They got the good life. They don't have to worry about researching anything. They can slap on like music at sound levels that are unacceptable. Like, they don't have to worry about editing. They don't have to worry about it. They just slap it all together. Wow.
I needed to build a single-player game to rival Star Citizen's multiplayer ambition.
Sorry for having big dreams,
Matt.
people. Guess I could have dumbed it down for you, but I won't. It's funny, too, because he directly points out the problem, which is that he pitched a much simpler game in 2012.
So basically, not to sound cynical, but it just feels like more of the same from Roberts. A lot of big promises, but not much when it comes to something to actually play.
I know this guy made a lot of games that were very important to you when you were younger. Please stop giving him money. Please. Please stop.
They needed to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
So CD Projekt Red has been in the news lately after it was reported that they are going to be crunching employees.
Oh God, I can't. I want to vomit. I really want to vomit. I don't even know why I watched the whole thing. Like, I should have stopped watching this a long time ago. If you guys have been along for the ride, man, I apologize that I did not stop this video sooner. That what a train wreck. Like, what a cringe fest. It is just ridiculous. Outside gaming. There you go. Outside gaming.